Now before I go on, a word about eating low carb at Western hawker food stalls in general. Now you might think that hawker stalls selling Hainanese style Western food would be ideal for low carb diets, but in reality, I've tried a few of them and they all fail, usually in the taste department. You see, the major problem is that almost all Western hawker food stalls rely on the sauces to provide the flavor and the juiciness. The main purpose of the sauce, by and large, helps to cover up the fact that you're buying a cheap cut of meat or thin cuts of meat. Now, why do hawkers give you cheap meat? It's because they need to keep the cost down. Because most patrons are not going to spend more than $10 to $15 on a hawker lunch. So they jazz up the meat with some gravy and make it taste better. Unfortunately, when you're on a low-carb diet, you generally have to avoid all sauces. The sauces are very often made using thickening starches. Very often they add sugar, instant stock packets, and a lot of other processed flavor enhancers. So the sauces are usually unhealthy, and it is where all the flavor of the dish is at. So once you remove the sauces, all the flavor for the dish goes away completely. The meats on their own are deliberately seasoned or marinated quite lightly so that when you pour the sauce on, the dish doesn't get too salty. So when you order the dishes without the sauces, the meat very often tastes rather plain and under-seasoned. The other issue is that hawker stalls tend to grill the meats until there is a char on them so that it looks good on the plate. But as a result, the meat is very often overcooked and dry. But that doesn't matter too much when you're adding a gravy because that covers up all the dryness. But that said, if you really want to eat Western food at Old Airport Road Food Centre, I would suggest ordering specifically the dory fish or the steak from this stall called Holy Grill. I'll explain later why. This stall is run by a couple in their 50s, Johnny Quek and Grace Wee, who started selling Western food in the canteen of Tanjong Katong Girls' School in the early 2000s. And it was hugely popular then. Encouraged by parents of the school kids and friends, they ventured out to open their own hawker stall in 2008. And they've been based at Old Airport Road Food Centre ever since. Now, Holy Grill has won praises from the public and food reviewers for their value for money offerings. Huge meat portions and restaurant quality sides, but unfortunately the praises don't quite apply when you're eating low carb. Firstly, most of the sides are not suitable for low carb because it is all carbs. There are only a handful of vegetable options on offer. And secondly, the meat portions are generous, but most of the meats are going to be rather dry without the sauces. So it just means that you get more meat that is not great to eat. So what's the point? However, I've eaten here a few times and I found that there are two dishes that are great when eaten on their own. The steaks and the dory fish. And that's what I have here. One portion of steak, these are strip loins from Australia, and one portion of grilled dory fish with herbs. I asked for some lemon on the side as well. And normally with a hawker Western stall, one meat comes with two sides usually. But I negotiated to just have two sides for all the meat that I ordered. So I ordered two sides of garden veggies. And all this cost me $23.50. So first trying the strip loin steak, I ordered it rare, and that looks pretty rare to me. Nice soft texture, and there's moistness in the meat too, and enough fat richness, and there's enough seasoning on the meat. And the flavor for a steak on its own is pretty flavoursome without the sauces. Next to the dory fish, look at this. I'm gonna put some lemon on top. They give out two sizable fillets, and it's nicely grilled with a nice char, and the meat is still soft and flaky and moist, and it's lightly salted and seasoned nicely with herbs. And the garden veggies, some broccoli and some carrots. It's pre-cooked beforehand and it's cooked to a nice crunch and chill. And they drizzle on some garlic oil on top, but it's not seasoned much. Regarding the sides, I've tried the other two sides which are suitable for low-carb diets apparently. The coleslaw and the house salad, but I wouldn't recommend them honestly. The coleslaw has a heavy mayonnaise seasoning, so it is loaded with bad vegetable oils. So I would avoid that completely. The house salad has a vinaigrette dressing which has some oil notes and is sour but not much else. There's no savory notes or anything. So it doesn't taste great, honestly. So the best bet is to just go for the garden veggies.